Hello guys, welcome back to Classic Shack, and today you join me in the shack working on Project Hanky. So I'm just going to get back on with where I finished off last time, which was the spare wheel well. So yeah, let's have a look where I ended up last time. So in my last video I basically removed a patch from around here where a previous owner repaired it and overlapped it. So I removed that like overlap that went all the way around here. I've had to fill in some pinholes that were there when I've done that. There's a hole here that I've made because the metal was thin there. And then here was a big patch, and when I removed that, when I ground down the welds, I ended up making the metal a bit thin, so I've decided just cut it all out and put a patch in. So yeah, here's the patches. I've made one small patch ready to go in the small hole, and I'll use that as a template. That's where I cut it out. You can see it had gone thin there. It was thin in a couple of places. I thought it was just easier to cut it out rather than mess about. So yeah, today I'll be carrying on working in this area. Ideally I'd like to sand all of this because it's got some, like, I don't know if you can see it there, but here they've used some sort of black underseal on it. I'd like to be able to clean all that off and get this part of it like done. The only annoying part is, and I mentioned in the last video that there was an overlap panel here that I removed, but it should have a spare wheel tie down here, and they cut it off. So I have had a look to see if I can buy another one, but it might just be a case of me bending a piece of metal so there's something like it there, or if I'm really lucky, the piece that I cut out that was an overlap had it on it and I've kept it, but that's pretty slim that that's happened. So yeah, let's get on with sorting this out. Okay, first bit done. So I filled the pinholes around here, filled that small hole that was there. Next, that big hole. I think I'll do that from the outside. Do that from that side maybe. And then I said a minute ago I was going to try and look for this bracket here. Went through my scrap bucket. Only gone and found it. Right, that's much better. So instead of the metal being a bit thin, I just cut it all out and put a fresh bit in. So yeah, that's much better than it was. And then inside the tank well's all right now, so pretty happy with all that. Good job done. Okay, so I've put a bit of epoxy primer on here. I just wander around. I should move the car further down, save me walking around it like this each time. But and then the tank well in a bit of epoxy primer as well. Okay, so luckily I found this in my scrap metal bin. It's the piece I cut off from the spare wheel well with the tie down bracket in it. So I've damaged it a little bit when I've cut it off, but it's not too bad. I'll just weld that back up, remove it from this backing, weld it back into the spare wheel well, and then that'll be done. Other than a bit of seam sealing in there, that spare wheel well will be done. So yeah, let's get on with repairing this and removing it from that piece of plate. Okay, so there it is removed. You can see the bit of damage that I need to repair on the edge there. I mean, I don't know anybody'd ever notice it, but I'm going to do it while it's here. So yeah, I'll just end up drilling a couple of holes in each side so that I can plug weld it back onto the shell. So yeah, let's get that repaired. Okay, so I've cleaned up the bracket. I've put a mounting hole at the end to puddle weld. I put two that end to start with. It's a bit too many, so I only put one on the other side. Repaired this edge, cleaned it up quick. I'm just going to coat that in epoxy primer before I weld it into the car. Right, so I've got the car turned over a bit more, so it's almost upside down, just so I can get a better view of where this spare wheel bracket's got to go. So I can just about get in here now, and you can see the old tabs there where the previous bracket was cut off, and this is a slightly different size, but I'm alright with that. So I'll just mark above these two bits that are left where this has to go, and then cut these out. That'll be my next job, get rid of these. I'll probably just grind on them until they're gone. Okay then, so I've got the car flipped over the other way at the minute, and I have just finished like tidying this up so that there's no pinholes or anything in it, and this side and the bit on the back here. So while it's like this, I'm going to seam seal this edge and around here, around there where I put a lip on it. Then I'll spin it over and seam seal inside this from the inside. So I'm not going to be some people mask it up and get a perfect seam seal line. I'm not really interested in that. I'll just seam seal, cover the section. It will look neat enough because it will all be painted. So, and it's the underside of the car. So yeah, in fact, while it's this way up, I might do this bit as well. Okay, so that's all I'm doing on the underside for the minute. Just done round here, along here, inside here, down there, and then I've just done some bits around here. It's a bit messy, but I'm not too fussed if I'm honest, because it's the underside of the car and it's all getting raptored, so it's a textured finish anyway. But yeah, I'm about to spin the car back over and then do the inside of this panel. Okay, so here's the inside of the tub. It's pretty obvious where I've done around here, there, and the little spare wheel tie down bracket as well. I'll just put a bit around that as well. So yeah, that's one more bit of it complete. I think next up I'm going to tackle this, which is basically just tidying it up a little bit of sanding, and then I'll do the same again. I'll just seam seal all of that area inside and out, anywhere that's been worked on really. So right then, I've moved on to the tank well. So I've basically bare metaled it all, and now I've just rust treated it. So I'm going to let that go off, put a coat of epoxy primer on it, and then once I've done that, I'll then seam seal it like I've done that side. So yeah, going to let this dry and then get on with a bit of paint and a bit of seam sealer. Right, I've got the car back up the right way around at the minute, just because it's making my life a little bit easier. But here's how the spare wheel well's looking, and then the tank well is all going black from the rust treatment. So I just need to leave this a little bit longer before I can put some paint on it, and then I'll be seam sealing it. Okay, so this wheel tub's all done now. this is the spare wheel well, so that's all the welding done in it, seam sealer put on it, bit of epoxy put over the top of that, inside and outside. I'll paint that side when I've flipped it over. This side I had in rust treatment, I've now just epoxy primed it, and I'm about to seam seal this section as well, so I'll get on with seam sealing that and then I'll come back to you. Okay, that's this side seam sealed. I've also done the underside as well, but I think I'm going to leave that here now. I'll leave that to dry and then paint that later on. Right, I think I'm going to leave that video here. So that's both the rear tubs sorted really, the tank well and the spare wheel well, new bracket in the spare wheel well as well, and I've cleaned it all back to bare metal, seam sealed it, put a bit more epoxy on it, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with that bit of progress on it. So if you have stayed this long, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, leave me a comment, like the video, yeah, and then until the next one, see you all later.